Hi there, my name is Victoria Vogue and you are watching Ask a Drag Queen. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we get started with this video, I would like to allow you a moment to get used to the fact that I am wearing a blonde wig. This is my first ever blonde wig. I have worn a blonde wig before once, but it wasn't mine. And you guys know how I feel about blonde wigs. I don't, generally speaking, like them. I consider that too many drag queens wear exclusively blonde or predominantly blonde, and so I've always tried to avoid wearing blonde wigs. But I have decided to finally bite the bullet and invest in a blonde wig. But of course I couldn't just be blonde. I had to spray the roots black so that it looked like a blonde wig that didn't used to be blonde. So anyway, yes, I have a blonde wig now. I'm not going to be wearing it very often because it's still definitely not my favourite wig colour, but I am going to be mixing it up just a little bit with this new piece. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, today's question comes all the way from Serbia. Dear Victoria, I'm from Serbia. I wanted to throw a drag queen party for my birthday, but a lot of my friends said they wouldn't be comfortable walking the streets in drag. How do you leave the house in drag and not get bullied in your journey across town? Lots of love from your #1 Serbian fan, Alex. I've got a fan in Serbia. Hello, Alex. Or, as they say in Serbian, hello, Alex. In Serbian. Which I don't speak. It is true that I do live in a slightly smaller Australian town. I don't live in a capital city. There is no population of several million people outside that door. Attitudes towards things like drag tend to be not as accepting, not as liberal as they might be in a capital city. What I'm trying to say here is that it would be perceived by some to be risky behaviour for a drag queen to walk around the streets of Wollongong. But I do it every weekend, and I am alive and well to tell the tale, so I'll, I don't know, rattle through some of the experiences that I've had and the attitude that I have towards it. I don't think twice about walking around the street in drag. I really don't. On a street at night time from 20 paces, I look convincingly feminine. The way I do my makeup and the way I dress and the way I style my wigs. I could be mistaken, and frequently am mistaken, for a real woman. So anyone driving past me on the road, or anyone walking past me on the other side of the street, if they're going to look twice, they're going to look twice because of what I'm wearing, and not because they can clock me as a man in drag. So I'm sort of safe there. I can get away with walking around the street 20 paces away from everyone else. The other thing is that the streets I walk along, whether it's going from the club to the 7-Eleven to get cigarettes, or whether it's leaving the club at the end of the night to go to a cab rank to catch a taxi home, the streets are usually busy, and people, in my experience, are less likely to offer you any kind of harassment or violence if they're in a busy place, because there are more potential witnesses to whatever they might be doing. Also, because I do walk around the middle of town in Wollongong quite a bit, whether it's before I go to the club or once the club has finished and I'm walking home or walking to a cab or whatever, I know lots of the bouncers in town, I know lots of the security staff in town, I know practically every single person that works in the convenience stores and the takeaway food stores at that hour of the evening. So people know me, people recognise me, and even people that I've never actually talked to have recognised me as one of the drag queens that performs at that club around the corner, and I've, you know, had people say hello to me and all of that business. I've never really felt unsafe, even when I'm walking on my own, and I do quite a lot, because I'll be at the club and I'll think, I'm out of cigarettes and he's going to get cigarettes, or whatever. I will just go. I won't even think twice about walking into the middle of town. And when people say things like, oh, did you want me to come with you? Are you going to be okay? I think, yeah, why? It's just up the street. So it doesn't occur to me that me walking around in drag might be dangerous. That said, of course, there are streets in this town that I would not walk down in drag in the middle of the night. Mainly quieter streets, because if I encounter someone who would offer me a show of violence or any kind of aggression on a quieter street, there's, you know, no witnesses, there's no one I could call for help if I needed help. So I tend to stick to the busier, well-lit streets where there's, you know, things going on. I have been harassed, of course, that's just par for the course. I've had people leaning out of car windows who recognise me as a drag queen shouting abuse. I've had people walk past me and mutter things or yell back over their shoulders or whatever. I don't give a shit about that sort of stuff. What's the point of giving a shit in that sort of stuff? Big deal. I could let it affect me, but then I would never want to leave the house in drag again. So why let it get to me when I'm having a good time? Not really sure what else I can say for this topic, except that for me, leaving the house and walking around in drag is not a big deal at all, but I can certainly appreciate that your friends, Alex, in Serbia, it might have been a bigger deal for them. And that is a little unfortunate, and maybe that is because they live in a smaller conservative country. I don't know. I really don't. I'm so sorry. I can't actually give you any advice on being a drag queen in a small conservative country, but I can say that if you are going to do it, it might be a good idea to have people with you when you're going out, or it might be a good idea to plan your route so you know that you'll be going along well-lit, safer streets, or even just, you know, catch a cab if you're being driven from door to door. Potentially one of the safest options. Until I see you next time, guys, my name is Victoria Vogue. Remember to keep calm and carry on.